So let's say you in a relationship, established, right? And somehow the conversation comes up where you and your partner are rating each other, and your partner rates you anything less than a 7. What's your next move? How you feeling about that? We gonna talk about that. We also gonna talk about creatives and mental health and how creatives are more at risk for certain mental health issues than those that do not pursue artistic careers. I found that very interesting as well. We're gonna get into that. Um, and this week I'm gonna be putting y'all onto something a little off color, all pun intended. So please, right now, whatever you're smoking, toking, ripping, hopefully not sniffing. Again, no judgments. Load up and lock in because we about to jump right into it and get it started.
Come and smoke with me. The conversation's elevated when you're smoking one with me. And we can talk about anything that you please. Better believe me, this is the highest place to be. Come and smoke with me. The conversation is made greater when we smoking on this weed. And we can rap about all of the things that we done seen. Blessings and lessons and only good energy. Come and smoke with me.
Welcome to another episode 4 of Smokescussions. I am your host, Will the Thrill / Big Will, what they used to call me on the football team, / The Wave / Big Biscuit. I'm not just gonna throw that out there without giving a little backstory. So, Big Biscuit is the name that was coined for me by my bullies in middle school. I got kicked out of Dallas School District because they found out I didn't live in the district, and I stayed in the office. I stayed with a referral. I don't know what they call them these days, but when your teacher wrote you up and sent you to the principal's office, that was called a referral. You got a referral to the principal's office. I don't know what they call it these days, but if I still had all of mine, I'd have a collection, a small little booklet. But anyway, I got kicked out of Dallas School District and then had to transfer over to Duncanville. And everybody just bullied me. And like I was chilling in my Dallas school. Like I had all my friends. It was a vibe. And then I went over to Duncanville and it was just like, who is this new fat boy? You know, and they came up with the name Big Biscuit and they would not let it die. And what we really used to get me is it was people my same size calling me Big Biscuit. Excuse me? Like, what? You the same size as me. That's cheating. I didn't like it. It was a bit traumatizing. I'm still working through it, but I can embrace it now. We've grown. But yeah, it's me. I'm your host. I'm here. And I am really excited for today's show. We got some really interesting things to unpack. So, without further ado, let's jump right into you trying to hit this? All right, so for today's you trying to hit this, I want to speak to my millennials. I want to speak to my people, you know. And if you're confused on whether or not you're a millennial, I have the definition for you. Anyone born in between 1981 and 1996 is considered a millennial. Now, I, being born in 1988, am right in the middle of that. So I am what they define as a core millennial because I'm just, I guess, right smack dab in the middle, right there. Which is cool. Like I know, millennial, yeah. I really don't put too much stock into it, but I do understand that we all, not all of us, most of us, a lot of us, share similar experiences. So for this week's, you trying to hit this? I'm talking to y'all. Is it just me, or is aging as a millennial sort of confusing. And I don't even know if that's the right word, but, like, it just seems a little bit like we're getting conflicting assertions, not assertions, what's the word? Opinions, I guess, is a better word to use on how we should dress, how we should speak, how we should act, what movies we should not movies, but, like, what hobbies we should practice, what art we should make, how we should make our art, all these different types of things. And I'm always gonna take it back to an artist's perspective because that's just, where I'm coming from. But it just seems like it's like everybody got something to say. You got the older generation telling us, "Oh, we need to do it like this," and I don't know why this new generation doing it like this. And then you got the younger generation telling us, "Oh, nah, y'all shouldn't be doing that, and y'all too old to be doing that." You know what I mean? And I guess everyone that hits our age group probably goes through it, I would imagine. But I think what makes us unique is that we are millennials. And so, like, specifically when talking about millennials, we came up alongside the mainstream explosion of the internet and social media, but we experienced childhood before all of that. So we sort of kind of have the best of both worlds, I would kind of say, when it comes to that experience because I had fun pre-internet, as a kid. I had a blast. But then when the internet came along, I had a good ass time too, you know? So I I can appreciate both. But I think our generation is also how do I put it? Experiencing a shift, a major shift, I think more so than ever before, or the most major shift in a long time in regard to society and how we view, I would say, age, to be honest with you, and how we view a lot of things, not even just age, but like I feel like there's an awakening that has been happening over the past like maybe 5, maybe 10 years. Um and when you think about it, specifically talking to the millennials, when you really sit back and think about how much change we've seen in the span of our lifetimes, we've gone from fucking cassettes, because that's the earliest form of listening to music I remember is cassette, to CDs, to streaming, to, just like that, and that's just technology. Look at the internet, how that has grown. We literally were the generation that first got internet in homes. That was us. That happened during our lifetime. Like, we are literally the generation of I don't know. Let me not start giving us random ass titles that don't need to be given. But I would just say this, we've seen a lot of change. And so with that, you know, it just feels like it's kind of hard to navigate. And for some, I would say for me, I really don't give a fuck. Like I'm a vibe out to however I feel. You know what I mean? And nobody really gonna tell me what I should be doing at this age, and what I'm not fucking with none of that. Like, do what makes you feel good. Is one life to live. As long as you're not hurting nobody, and you being a good person, just do what make you feel good. But it is a lot of commentary and a lot of pressure out there that I feel like some people might feel or be susceptible to, where they're listening to these people that say, "Oh, you too old to be doing this. You too old to be doing that," or whatever the case may be. I don't subscribe to that idea of you gotta dress like this because you this age and you can't do this and you gotta do that. Like, for me, I'm a gamer. I'm gonna play my fucking video games. If the Lord bless me to see old, gray, shriveled up, I'm gonna have a PS27 controller in my hand. Like, just understand that. Or by that time, it's probably gonna be just gloves with little dots at the end, or we just gonna be playing games like this. Ha, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows what the future holds for technology, but Imma be in that bitch. Like, just know that. So, stuff like that, I really just don't pay attention to, but it can be confusing. It can be irritating. How do y'all feel about that? Is that just me? Am I the only one that's feeling that, like, kind of pressure? Thankfully, my mama don't do that to me. That's really the only person who I really care about as far as opinion, you know what I mean? So, and my mama, she should be like, "Vibe, as long as you putting God first," is my mama, um, "and take care of your business, chase your dreams." So that's Imma end on that note for the, "Are you trying to hit this?" Make sure you are chasing your dreams, and that's all that matters, no matter how old you are. Who was that? It was an actor that got they big break in acting at 40. So, yeah, it's never too late. So I said for this segment, I was gonna go with something, push y'all onto something a little off color. Pun intended, but so basically, I don't know how y'all feel, but this is how I feel. Sitcoms ain't hitting like they used to. They're just not. No disrespect. And I'm trying to think if there's any ones that I feel like are pretty good. Well, okay, The Neighborhood. That's a sitcom with starring Cedric the Entertainer and Tachina Arnold. So you already know you got some good comedy there. And then there's this white actor and this white actress. They the neighbors, and they star in it too. And I know I've seen them in stuff for sure, but their name escapes me. Ugh, I should have done my research, but it's a pretty good show. You know what I'm saying? I think it's pretty funny. I enjoy it. But when I think of sitcoms, peak top tier sitcom, you have to remember I'm a core millennial. I'm thinking 90s TV. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking heavy hitters. I'm thinking Living Single. I'm thinking Martin. I'm thinking fucking uh, hot take. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was okay to me. I enjoyed it, but it's not in my Mount Rushmore of sitcoms. But it was good. Don't get me wrong. Funny, but I don't know. I don't know. But you get what I'm saying. I'm thinking heavy hitters when I think sitcoms, and in my humble, trying my hardest not to be stuck in the past opinion, we don't have anything on that level these days. So that has resulted in me binge watching old sitcoms, typically the black ones. I've gone through the Living Single series probably 20 times. Martin, I've probably gone through maybe 10. Uh, Somebody's uploading marathons of half and half on YouTube. I've been putting that on in the background. Top tier, by the way. And then I just discovered Eve's on YouTube. Eve, now listen. Eve, the sitcom, slept on. Eve is funny. Still to this day, I want to know why they named her character Shelly and the name of the show was Eve. I don't get it. But nonetheless, hilarious show. Hilarious, hilarious. But I've been watching all of these shows over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So I was thinking, let me put y'all on to some of the white sitcoms I don't play about. And there's not many. Listen, don't get me wrong. All due respect to my white brothers and sisters, if you're listening, you're amazing. Most of you guys, the non-racist ones. But y'all sitcoms just don't be hitting like that. I'm sorry. Friends, what? No, no, thank you. All friend slander is welcome in my presence and on this show. Very much so. Sorry. And as I said, Living Single is my favorite sitcom of all time, so you should be able to connect those dots. Um, Seinfeld, How I Met Your Mother, what's that other one? Big Bang Theory. Ooh. It's just not my cup of tea. I'll put it to you like that. However, there's some white sitcoms out there I don't play about. Now my number one, and I don't play about this show at all. My number one, Frasier. Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling, tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Mercy. Frasier is hands down. First of all, Frasier is in my Mount Rushmore of sitcoms. 100%. It's probably about the only white sitcom up there, but it's up there. Very solid. Frasier is hands down one of the funniest sitcoms you will ever watch. The only reason you might think it's not funny is because you ain't catching the jokes. I promise you. I promise you. That's it. If you watch Frasier and you not laughing, it's because you don't get it. That's the only explanation.
A long time ago, I had to make a choice between being a good agent and a good person because, trust me, you can't be both. So forgive me if I don't have time to make everybody feel warm and fuzzy. I am just too busy spending every waking minute pulling any string, playing any shameless trick I can to make my clients' dreams come true. I am a star maker. And if you can't appreciate that, there are plenty who can. How about you? You want an agent?
Oh, please.
You mean it?
Roz!
I never had an agent. It's not like she worships the devil.
Well, she doesn't have to. He worships her.
You're absolutely right, Frasier. Forget it, baby. No way. That voice, I could listen to it all day. It's pure yet smoldering like a nun with a past. You think so?
No, Roz, don't look her in the eye.
That peak top tier sharp writing and comedy and wit, to be able to put that together, and then on top of that you have an ensemble cast as well that just comes together. They know how to deliver the lines, they have the chemistry, the comedic timing, when all things are just working and they just work together and it comes together and it's just beautiful. That's what I appreciate about sitcoms, right? And that's what I think, without due respect, shout out to everybody in a sitcom right now. We don't have that type of sharpness in the writing and that type of wit anymore. I wonder what happened. Huh. I wonder if it goes back to the perfectionism conversation I was having last episode. Something to explore. Y'all don't cancel me. I know in the times that we in right now, I was like, should I do that? Should I was like, yeah, fuck it, man. It's entertainment. You know what I mean? Shit, just watch something and laugh. We gotta laugh right now to keep from crying and going crazy, losing our brains. But anyway, I don't want to digress too much. Okay, so I kind of teased it at the top of the show a little bit. So let's say you're in a relationship with your boo, whomever that may be, and y'all get into a conversation, just wanting to talk and connect, do the thing that boos do. And y'all come to the conversation of physical attraction. And you end up asking your partner what they would rate you on a scale of 1 to 10. And they say anything lower than a 7. What is your reaction? What is your reaction? How are you reacting to that? And we're talking strictly physical attraction. Nothing else. We're not talking about your intellect and your personality. We're not talking about none of that. We're talking about strictly physical. All other components removed. Let's say they gave you 6. Let's say they gave you a 6. What is your reaction? Now, when I initially thought about this, I was like, oh, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because, see, the way that I'm built, the way that I'm set up, I need you to be delusional about me. Like, I need you to somehow fix in your mind, however you need to do it, that I'm the finest motherfucker walking this planet. That's the only thing that'll do for me. Like, what you mean? No. Like, I need you to be just a little bit crazy. Just a little bit insane. There's no one else on this earth. What? That nigga? Please. Tyson Beckford, who? So yeah, I wasn't really rocking with that. But I got to wondering, has anyone ever asked this question before? So that led me down a rabbit hole of research, of course. You know how I am. I came across a poll or survey, I'm not even exactly sure what you would call it, where A psychologist by the name of Viren Swamy, he surveyed 256 heterosexual people and 233 LGBTQ people, right? And basically what he asked them to do is rate themselves and then rate their partner. Now, he didn't do a scale of 1 to 10. They did some bell curve type situation. Shout out to the psychologist and psychiatrist. Hopefully y'all know what I'm talking about. But basically, the way they did it is their scoring system was 100 was average, 115 was high average, and 130 was attractive, quote unquote. That was their grading curve. So when it came to the male participants, heterosexual, overall, on average, the males rated themselves at around a 107. That's the average, was 107. But they rated their female partners an average of 120. Interesting. So the fellas rated their female partners higher than themselves. Now, when it came to the female participants, their average scores, women on average rated themselves a 109, but their male partners, on average, they rated their male partners a 119. So the women also, on average, rated their partners higher than themselves. When it came to the LGBTQ pool, again, it was 233 people. I think it was 93 gay men, and then the rest were lesbians. And it was the same exact thing with them. On average, both groups rated their partners more attractive than they rated themselves. And that got me to wondering, because that's really interesting. Now, granted, I understand this wasn't just like a millions and millions of people poll. It was a relatively smaller sample group, but it's still a sample. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that's pretty indicative of a larger group and how they would probably rate themselves and their partners the same. And so I got to thinking, does that mean that we go after partners that we think are more attractive than we are? Is that kinda like something that we do on a regular basis? You know? And is it that feeling that we've landed someone that's more attractive in us than us? Is that what makes us want to stay and really build that relationship? I don't know. This is me just wondering, going down the rabbit hole, or why would that be? Could it be a situation of the dynamic of attractiveness shifting in a relationship, whatever that may, what for whatever reason that may be? I don't know. But one thing I do feel like is, does it, well, no, I want to say I feel like it. I'll ask the question, does that speak to one's self-worth? Not necessarily, right? I just found that really interesting, because this was again strictly based on physical attraction. Because I think, for me, attraction in general, physical attraction is a component of it. There's also, the emotional component, the intellectual component, and all of the culmination of all those things, excuse me, is what attraction is to me. But this was specifically talking about physical attraction, and on average, both men and women, gay and straight, rated their partners as more attractive than themselves. Is that a healthy thing, though? Like, on the inverse, is that a good thing? Does that display a lack of arrogance or ego? I don't know. It's so many ways to interpret that. I just felt like that was really interesting. I was expecting to see a disparity in either one gender or one of the orientation groups, and it was the same all the way across. That was interesting. So how would you feel if your partner, I know that was a little bit off topic, I kinda went down a rabbit hole, but I'm genuinely wondering, like, how would you feel if your partner rated you on physical attraction alone a 6 and below? And do you feel like that would create some insecurity in you? I don't think it would create insecurity in me just because I've been through some shit. So, thankfully, the way my brain is built right now, the way that I've set it up and rearranged it, if you were to rate me a 6, I would be concerned for your mental well-being and your eyes. Nah. No, but for real though, because what the fuck? Nah, nah. Thank you for being honest. Goodbye. No. No, but seriously, would that be something that would cause you to end a relationship? Because on the surface, it's something that could be small, but then it could turn into something bigger. Because I think something like that would, especially an insecure person, but I feel like arguably even a secure person, that might make you feel kind of some type of way, give you a pause for the cause. Like, a 6. Okay. Not at least I was at least a 7.5. A 6. I don't know. Or is that putting too much stock into shit like that? Because at the end of the day, you're the person that they chose. And that's just that on that, right? Because I think, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it and talking through it, I feel like I might not necessarily have a problem with it because, like I said, attraction is a culmination of physical, emotional, and intellectual, in my opinion. So if you only thought I was a 6, obviously I'm bringing more to the table than just my physical attractiveness, and you're appreciating me for more than just that. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we all want? To be appreciated for the whole of who we are and not just bits and pieces. So that could be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's more so the ego that would want to be rated higher than anything else. But shit, as long as you're not cheating and lying and bullshitting, I'll be your 6, baby. Not a problem. You want 5 and 1 or 2 threes? Like, I'll be your 6. It's okay. Um. So yeah, I don't think I'd be tripping. Just a little bit, but I'd get over it. Mhm. But I want to jump right on into the next topic because the next topic is one that I'm very excited to talk about because I also found some really good research, some interesting research on this topic, and that is the link between mental wellness and those in the arts and pursuing creative careers. I don't know why, but I'm no no, not ashamed to say that I've been in therapy and I've dealt with my fair share of mental like under maintenance. I'll put it to you like that. For a while I didn't even think about that because being a black man growing up in the South is just not something that a lot of us from my age group were directed towards, for lack of a better term. Um, so I had to do the work, I had to, find out things on my own. And I got into therapy. And it's been amazing. But I got to wondering, like, the other day, I was like, I wonder if the artists are more susceptible to, like, I was thinking specifically depression. And I say that just because me being an artist, and I've definitely 100% dealt with depression. And I still kind of, I'm a functioning depressive. That's what my therapist said. That's not me making up shit, y'all. That's what my therapist said. And I have, quite a few artist friends as well, obviously, and we all be going through it. We all be going through it. And so I was wondering, like, I wonder if there's a link between those two things. And so I started doing my research, of course. And luckily, there are some doctors out there who wondered the same shit. So there was a Kayaga 2011 study, and it was a general population study. So they just went through the registries. They studied the family history of about 300,000 families. And they found that while focusing on relatives, they found specific creative professions, for example, writers, musicians, stuff like that, had significantly higher odds for bipolar disorder compared to the general population. Bipolar disorder. That's interesting. There was a Musgrave research done in 2025 on musicians and music creators in Denmark. They studied 1,865 people, and they found that 45.8 scored abnormal in anxiety levels. 68.7% of those people, of that 45%, were under the age of 40 years old. So those under 40 were at even a higher rate or risk of specifically anxiety. That's crazy. And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like I almost feel like, why didn't I think of this? Like, it almost kind of makes sense, but it's still interesting to see all the facts laid out like that, and like concrete evidence that, like, wow, there's really something, to this. So obviously at this point, the next question is why? Like, what is it about pursuing the arts or being creative that kind of causes these things? So basically what the consensus is the pursuit of artistic careers and the intrinsic traits of highly creative individuals frequently intersect with psychological vulnerabilities. So I'm reading that and I'm like, okay, well, what the hell are the intrinsic traits of highly creative people? And I found 7 of them. I researched this a couple of different ways and I came up with these. And I'm gonna just rattle them off real quick. High openness to experience, tolerance for ambiguity, divergent thinking, big one, intrinsic motivations. That means being motivated by the satisfaction of the completion of the art versus the money and the cars and stuff like that. Emotional sensitivity and intensity, the nonconformity and independence, and the paradox of playfulness and discipline. And what that means is they observed or feel like they observed that artists and creatives have a tendency to be very playful and childlike in their imagination, yet extremely disciplined when it comes to pursuing and completing the art, the project, or whatever the case may be. So I'm reading all that and I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. That sound like a creative person. That sound like me. I identify so far, and now it's starting to make sense why um I feel like I need a volume someday. It's not playing. I shouldn't even say that. I don't even really know what volume does. I think it just gets you like a different kind of stoned. I don't know. Anyway, I'm digressing. My next question was, why do we specifically as creatives suffer more? Because it's like, okay, we have these traits, and you're saying that they sort of intersect with psychological, you know, what was the wording that was used? Psychological vulnerabilities. But why do these specific traits exploit those vulnerabilities? You know, why are we more susceptible to these issues of depression, anxiety, bipolar? And the reason that I was able to find is we just don't seek help. That's what a lot of the researchers are saying that they're getting as far as feedback is we just don't seek help, or we seek help at a much lower rate than people that are in non-creative career paths. And I'm like, I wonder why that is. Is it that we don't seek help, or is it that we can't afford to? Because a lot of creatives don't have office jobs. You know what I mean? Don't have the benefits that come along with that. So, therapy is expensive. Medication is even more expensive, particularly if you don't have insurance. So I don't know that I buy that we as artists don't seek help or seek help at a lower rate. I just think a lot of artists can't afford it. But I'm no researcher. That's just my humble opinion. I'll leave it there and I'll move along. Um, Another reason that was given was the blurred boundaries between personal and professional. Now that would make sense. That one to me makes sense because as an artist, I won't even say a true artist. I'll just say for a lot of artists, your art is a part of who you are. Your art is born from your experience, your struggle, your triumph, all of those things. So when it comes to trying to market and package that up into a product and market it and sell it so that you can make a living off of it, it's practically impossible to separate personal and professional because you're professionally selling your personal. Does that make sense? Is that a reach? If that's a reach, let me know. Don't be shy. But I feel like, yeah, you know what I mean? And then don't even get me started on like artists, music artists. You pretty much in this day and age, your personal and your professional are a package deal. You know, if you want to be a performing artist of a certain degree, I'll say, in this day and age, you have to sell your personal along with your professional. That's the society that we live in and how we consume and how we decide who the next it person is, at least for now. That seems to be, what's in demand. That could change. The tides could change. Who knows? One thing that 2020 through 2026 has taught me is that you don't know what the fuck is about to happen. Anything could change at any moment in any way, and you just gotta hold on to your toupee and be ready. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. So I don't know if that's gonna change, but I don't I don't see how as an artist, and maybe this is why we in the boat that we in now, because I can't see how you can separate your personal and your professional when it comes to creativity, working in the arts. Put it to you like that. I don't know. That's my question of the night. How do you separate personal and professional when it comes to pursuing your art as a career? Ponder on it. Now, this segment wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about how we can help ourselves, right? Because at the end of the day, we could be awe-stricken all we want at the correlation between, these issues and artists, but what are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? So a lot of the research suggests, and please take this with a grain of salt, because what this research that I'm talking about, this is people giving their 2 cents on what other people should be doing and how they should be dealing with it. It could be great advice. It could be bullshit. I don't know. So take it for what it's worth and just make the decision for yourself. But they were saying that traditional therapy is a lot of the times not as effective as specialized therapy that is for creatives. And I didn't even know they had this shit. So this was news to me. They have specialized therapy for creatives. They have something called CRAFT, the Creative Arts and Flourishing Therapies. And basically that combines art therapy, physical therapy, like yoga and stuff like that. It combines a couple of different things to culminate a program that is supposed to be specifically geared towards creatives. So that's something to try out. You never know. It sounds expensive. I'm not gonna hold you. It sounds expensive, and it doesn't sound like insurance covers it. So I think I personally, me right here, we're gonna go with option two. And option two is simply community. It's simply networking, creating connections, and leaning on fellow artists. And that just makes sense to me because nobody is gonna understand, I think, as much as they may try, nobody's gonna understand the struggles mentally and internally that artists go through but other artists. And I think I wanna give non-artists credit, but I feel like sometimes y'all just think we sound crazy. And you may be right, but I don't is it uh, it takes another artist who, like, truly understands it, and I'll even say this, it's even hits different if you talking to a friend who is understanding, but they don't understand. That even hits different than talking to somebody who understands, you know what I'm saying? And so, I think that is a beautiful thing is, being able to connect with fellow artists. I'm trying to do more of that. At my big old age in 2026, I'm trying to do more connecting with other artists and collaborating, making those connections and building community, creating community, you know what I'm saying? And let's collab too, shit. Let's make some music. Let's make some art. Let's do something. The visual artists, let's do something. It's just that's what it's all about to me is collaborating, networking and growing and building together, especially with my brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? I think we definitely need to band together creatively and hell every other way too. But I would love to see more creative just coming together. And I'm not saying it's not happening, don't get me wrong. I just need to find my way there. I gotta get out the house, y'all. That's why I ain't got shit to say about shit because I just gotta get out the motherfucking house. I'm trying, y'all. Listen, we just got through talking about the connection between, anxiety and depression and artists, and I'm an artist, damn it. Nah, but for real, dead ass. I'm not even making a joke about it. My therapist, she diagnosed me with uh mildly severe anxiety. And I know I'm putting y'all in my business, but fuck it. I'm not the only one going through it. So shit, it is what it is. And I forget what level of depression she said it was. And I was like, oh, for real? I mean, I feel okay. And she was like, yeah, that's because you're functioning. I was like, oh, okay. She put me on. She put me on. I'm just gonna end on this. Again, Mental Health Awareness Month. Check out your resources if you feel like you need it. If you don't even know where to look, man, you jump in my DMs, reach out to me. Reach out to me. There's a million places where you can get in contact with me. I'll help you find something. We can find something together. Shit. Because it can be confusing sometimes trying to figure out where to go and what. Hit me up. We'll figure it out together. Yeah, for this week, Spark Up, I ain't got nothing deep. I need to do my motherfucking laundry. That's it. And I know I'm not the only one. That's the crazy part about it. I know for a fact I'm not the only one. So, if you're within the sound of my voice and you have not done laundry, let's do that shit today. We are going to get our laundry done today. No excuses. If you got to wash and dry, you damn sure ain't got no excuse. I'm about to lug my laundry down a few blocks to the washateria, but I don't care if it's 12 at night or in the morning. I got a 24-hour laundromat around here. I'm doing my laundry today. Damn it. Clothes just looking at me. I know they cussing me out. It's a fuck y'all too. But listen, y'all gotta understand. Listen, I'm an artist. Okay? I'm an artist and I deal with shit and I'm at more at risk. So y'all gonna have to bear with me. And that brings us in to a close for this session 4. If you're still with me this far, I love you so much. Thank you so much for continuing to listen. Even if you listen for like 5 minutes and cut it off, I appreciate you just give me a little bit of your time. I truly, truly appreciate it. Like I said from the first episode, I am in this for the long haul. We are giving you consistency. We giving you quality. We got guests coming up soon. Any feedback is always welcome. Anything that you feel is in the zeitgeist that you want to talk about, you want to just, light something up and rap about, let me know and we can make it happen. Also, I have live smokescussions coming up. Like I said in the first episode, this show was born from a live smoke session that I held on Zoom, and it was a blast. We had an amazing time. I'm going to be starting that again. Like and subscribe the Smokescussions page on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so I can keep you updated on when that is happening. I would love for you to come through. It's always good vibes, all positivity, no negativity. We just roll up, have a good chat, have a great time. I would love to see you there. And with that, you be good to yourself, be safe, and until next time, peace. That was weird.
Come and smoke with me.